Welcome to Conversion Rate Optimization Day. My name is Alex Harris. If you're here and checking this out, please go ahead and post in the comments below. I'd love to know where you're located in the world. What state are you in? What country are you at? What are you doing in the conversion rate optimization space? Again, my name is Alex Harris. And today I'm going to be telling you about tripling your e-commerce sales and leads. We'll go into detail about a little bit about me, how I got started doing conversion rate optimization, understanding that conversion focused mindset, and really taking your conversion rate optimization skills to that next level. Please let me know that you can go ahead and hear me by posting a comment down below. And let me know where you're from, what you're doing in the conversion rate optimization space. And I'd love meeting like-minded people like you. As I've been doing conversion rate optimization for 15 years, I learned there's a variety of people who do this. You may be an artist. You may be a problem solver, but I surely know that you're a risk taker. Your interest in conversion rate optimization shows that you're really on the cutting edge. Risk takers are optimizers. Optimizers want results. You want results for your business, for your startup, and especially for your clients to get bigger results in a shorter amount of time. Remove all those unnecessary steps. Today, I will show you how to use my system to triple your e-commerce sales and leads. We'll use qualitative insight and quantitative data to execute successful conversion testing. We'll use that to increase your sales and leads from your existing website traffic, because it doesn't matter how much traffic that you're driving to your website if you really can't convert that traffic into sales. I'll go through in detail about how I got started doing conversion rate optimization. I gathered that conversion mindset to really start to think differently about my customers and how to generate more conversions from my existing traffic, and then use iterative experiments to get bigger results from your actual split testing. We'll then go into specific case studies where I show you a proven system to optimize your website and actually increase your profit. And in the end, I'll be doing e-commerce website reviews where I go through and show you exactly how to improve your e-commerce site too. We'll be going deep into this presentation. It's an hour long. There's a lot of information. And I'm going to be telling you the tools that I use, how you should use them, and get the best results from using those tools. So now we're going to go ahead and jump right into the presentation. Please let me know that you can see the presentation okay as I load it up into full screen. You should now be able to see the presentation fine within the full screen browser. And I really thank you for being here today on Conversion Rate Optimization Day, a very special day for me. Because if you don't know who I am, and you probably don't, because I'm a website designer, I just sit behind my computer all day, but I've been doing conversion rate optimization for 15 years. And I admit that I'm guilty of the average person doing the amateur type of testing. Doing that slice and dice type of testing where you're getting just enough results, very inconsistent. But the fact is that I didn't have a system in place. And I learned from the greats on how to create my own methodology, to create a system and learn from the mistakes that I had in the past. I admit, I had an ego. I thought I knew everything about conversion optimization for doing it for so long. But I'm going to tell you that all of that has changed in the last couple of years as I created a podcast where I interviewed the best in digital marketing and understood their frameworks so I can apply it to my own methodology. Today, I'll be telling you about tripling your e-commerce sales and leads, understanding that conversion mindset, how to think differently about your customer so you can understand their problem and then create a solution specifically for them. will then go into my marketing optimization system, a system that I built to get a better process, to have more predictable results and remove all the unnecessary steps to have a bigger impact, and go through the research to get the right results. Then we'll be going into specific e-commerce website reviews where I'll be reviewing all of these 9 sites and then giving them specific tips on ideas that they can test themselves. Starting a little bit about me, I'm a website designer that helps websites increase the amount of money, leads, and conversion rates that they actually make. My website is alexdesigns.com, and I've been doing this now for 15 long years. 11 of those years, I worked at a .com as the e-commerce and creative customer acquisition director for ediets.com, a very popular diet and fitness website. But during that time, I created my freelance website to business, alexdesigns.com, in the year 2004. In 2005, I met my mentor, Brian Eisenberg. You probably know who he is. He's the godfather of conversion rate optimization. He basically taught me everything about what I know today. And then in 2011, I finally left that job and I was terminated with no severance, and I became an entrepreneur. In 2012, I met my beautiful wife and I went out on my entrepreneurial journey, and it was all new for me because I never went to business school. I never went to marketing school, and I never really understood how to create a process that really worked for me. In 2013, I had to start my business over. So like any geek out there, I created a podcast, Marketing Optimization, all focused on optimizing and maximizing your ROI from your conversion experts. Everybody used to come to me and say, oh, I need help with my SEO, but that's not the optimization I do. I do conversion rate optimization. So I created the podcast called Marketing Optimization and then turned that into a system that I now apply for my clients to get bigger results in a shorter amount of time. I took all of that and I applied it to a new book that I'm releasing this year in 2015 called Small Business, Big Money Online. And if you want to find out how to get that book for free, all you have to do is stick around to the end of the presentation, and I'll be giving away this book for free in May. So let's move into the actual system. This is what it's all going to be focused on and how you can triple your sales and leads. The marketing optimization system is broken up into the discovery, hypothesis, execution, review, and scaling process. You're discovering who your customers are, what their problems and pains and desires are, and then creating a hypothesis, a specific educated guess, so you can help make their lives a lot better. We turn that actually into split testing by creating wireframes, designs, and actually setting up that split testing. Then once we know that there's a winner, we can actually review and scale and grow our bottom line. Just because a test wins doesn't mean you make more money. We do this by understanding qualitative and quantitative data. We use the qualitative data to maybe create a hypothesis for a unique value proposition or copy test. And then we use that quantitative data, that numbers and those analytics, to do user experience and ideal click map tests. From that, we're all focused on scaling and growing your bottom line, showing real results. But since this is CROday, let me back up and tell you exactly how I got into this, because I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I took a lot of things for granted. But one thing I was sure is that I knew I needed to produce results. This is where I met Brian Eisenberg, the godfather of CRO. He became my mentor, and he told me specifically, it's not about winning awards. It's about getting results. And me as a website designer, I wanted to make my websites pretty. They had to have a cutting edge design. But in the end, it was about making results for the clients. Once I started working with Brian Eisenberg, I started to learn about their persuasion architecture framework and how they did conversion rate optimization in the early days. I started following their blog, thegrok.com, And I learned about the conversion trinity, the scientific method, and how to run valid split tests. They gave me an opportunity to work directly with Brian and Jeffrey Eisenberg. I redesigned their website, Future Now Inc., and also their blog, grok.com. This is where I learned everything about marketing optimization, because we're optimizing more than just conversion rates, more than just revenue, more than just leads. It's all marketing channels. And this language really stuck with me because I started designing landing pages for them, lead generation websites for attorneys, reducing shopping cart abandonment rates for great sites like backcountry.com. And in the end, Brian said that I was one of his secret weapons to help them get great conversion results for their clients as well. So we've put in the hours. We understood what has worked and hasn't in the past. That's because we built thousands of landing pages, hundreds of different e-commerce sites. Through that, we executed over 5,000 different tests in over 11 years. From 2000 through 2011, I must have ran split tests every single day for 11 years. Now, since then, it's been a lot over 5,000 tests, but this is a pivotal point in the conversion rate optimization timeline. Because in 2011, conversion rate optimization exploded, and that correlated with the end of the recession in the United States. This is interesting how it's ironic that the same time period, Google algorithm update came out called Panda, which leveled all the search engine results in 2011. So while SEO was declining, CRO became extremely popular. And this was my time to become an entrepreneur. I finally left that .com job and I was terminated with no severance. And remember, I didn't go to business school. I didn't go to marketing school. So I had no idea how to become an entrepreneur. I do knew that I was a website designer who helped improve conversions, that what I can do was a lot different than most direct marketers out there were doing. So I went out on my own. And I thought that I knew everything about conversion rate optimization. And I would set up a test and I would get a winner. But because I really didn't have a process in place, I needed to learn from my mistakes really quickly, because I would have a winning test and then a loser. And then I'd get excited again because I'd have a winning test, but then I'd have a loser. So I was getting really inconsistent results. And about a 50% win rate, that was just not good enough for me. That's not something that I can really explain to my clients. So I really needed how to figure out how to take my conversion rate optimization completely to the next level. I needed to start over from scratch to understand that there was a lot more opportunity for me to learn because I was looking in the wrong places. And in 2003, I really reshaped my conversion rate optimization career by creating a podcast. I wanted to know who was the best in the space and how I could interview them to understand what they were doing and apply it to my own methodology so I can get bigger results too. The marketingoptimization.tv platform allowed me to interview people like Brian Eisenberg, where I learned about the persuasion architecture framework, or Brian Massey, where I learned about the scientific method and how they applied the scientific strategy to get better experiments, create better hypotheses. Then from Peplaya, I learned about the conversion optimization process, because if you don't have a process and you don't have a system, then you're just amateur. And don't you want to become a master of CRO? There's so much more opportunity for you to learn. And then from Ollie Gardner, I learned about conversion-centered design. And he really motivated me to communicate this better as a public speaker. Learning from the greats like this, I was able to get bigger results from the testing I was running, removing all the unnecessary steps to get bigger profit through my conversion rate optimization practice. So I created the system, the marketing optimization system, branded the same as my podcast. Through this, I was able to start getting more consistent results. And that's what I highly recommend you do. Create your own system, a pattern that you go through so you can have more predictable results and be able to teach your team on how to actually do what is going on. So now I'm going to take you through exactly how to use the actual system in this case study. I'll go through in detail about how to use the system, get the right results, and triple your sales in leads. Energy First is the site that we're going to be looking at, and it's all broken down into this 5-step process. The discovery, hypothesis, execution, and reviewing scaling process. We're discovering who our customers really are, what problems that they have, and how we can create better solutions to triple their sales and leads. To do this, we need to use data. We need to figure out where people are going on our site. We need to figure out what they're doing on those pages. And then we need to figure out why. We start by doing that through the persona modeling. Let's take, for example, Amy. She's a 40-year-old woman, working mom, and she is interested in losing weight. She goes to Google and she types in a certain query for whey protein shakes for breakfast. She's smart enough to know that she's not going to click on the ads, the paid ads up top. But she does find an interesting natural search link that she's very interested in: protein shakes for breakfast. Jumpstart your metabolism. So she says this is a query that helped solve her problem that she's looking for. So she arrives at a landing page, energyfirst.com, the case study that we'll be going through. And we understand that looking at this page, you probably see it as it's busy. It's not clear about the language that they're using. We're really not sure of what they're selling. We don't really understand the benefits of the protein and how it could better our lives. And also, what are the ingredients? I'm really concerned about what food I'm putting into my body. This is where we start to apply the methodology. Starting with the conversion trinity that we learned from Brian Eisenberg, we understand the relevance, value, and call to action. Are you really relevant to my wants, needs, and desires? Is it relevant to the search query I just came from? Do I know why you are the right solution for me? And is it obvious for me to do what to do next? Obviously, this page is pretty busy, so there's a lot to improve. But we're going to do that through 2 different kinds of data: quantitative and qualitative data. Starting with the quantitative, understanding our analytics and our metrics, what's actually going on with those numbers. We do that by starting with an 80-20 rule. Every e-commerce site usually has an 80-20 rule for their products. They're making 80% of their revenue off of 20% of their inventory. But the same thing works exactly with your highest traffic pages. You want to understand your 80-20. 80% of your visits are coming from 20% of your pages. So you want to understand the most traffic pages, the most revenue on those pages, and the highest bounce rate potential of those pages. If they're over 55% bounce rate, you know you can reduce them. We do this using different types of tools. Now, more than likely, you've used a lot of these different tools: Visual Website Optimizer, Optimizely, Unbounce, MailChimp, HubSpot, Google Analytics. But in this case, for this case study, we're just going to be using Visual Website Optimizer, Google Analytics, and AdWords. We look at Google Analytics to ensure that the goals and funnels are actually set up properly to begin with, to establish our actual baseline. But the most important report within Google Analytics is your top landing page report. We can see from this report, this time frame, that the whey protein powder page is making up majority of all the visits on the page, on the website. It also has a very high bounce rate, and it's making up a lot of transactions. So this is a key indicator to tell you exactly where to start your testing. We can also see that the green drink page and the home page are right underneath it. But even if you add up all the whey protein powder landing pages, it's making up more than 50% of the sessions, the transactions, and has the highest opportunity for improvement. So we know that the whey protein powder page is the page to start actually testing. We also want to know the keywords that people are using to drive the most clicks and the most conversions. Here we can see that the whey protein shakes has a lot of sessions and it has a lot of goals. It also is picking up a lot of information, a lot of traffic through natural search. So we know that the shakes for breakfast page and the whey protein powder pages are two pages that have to be high on our radar to increase our conversion and get the best return. Also, looking at our segments, we want to ensure that we're marketing to the right segments. In this case, they have a mostly high traffic from their desktop experience. So in this case, we're only going to be testing the actual desktop. So now using Google Analytics, we found our top traffic landing pages. We know exactly where people are going on their site. Those 5 pages are probably where we're going to spend our most time testing. Now we need to figure out exactly what they're doing on that whey protein powder page. We do that through heat maps. Using something like Visual Website Optimizer or InspectLet, we could tell exactly where people are clicking. Obviously, people are clicking on the right side towards these radio buttons and the call to action areas. But if you look to the far left, people are very interested in the reviews and the ingredients. So this helps us add to our hypothesis that people are interested in the reviews, they're interested in the ingredients, and maybe they're having a little bit of a hard time actually checking out. So now we know where people are going on the site, we know what they're doing with heat maps, we need to figure out why. We do that using the qualitative insight, understanding what's going on in the mind of the customer. We do that by gathering feedback, understanding what's going on in the customer's mind, and using that voice of the customer will help you get better research. Doing the right research will help you get better results in your long-term testing. This is the proven strategy to increase your profit by doing the right research. Remember, we're still in the discovery process here. This is only the first step. If you put the effort into your research, you'll create a better hypothesis and run better tests to triple your sales. In this toolkit, we'll be using user testing, Visual Website Optimizer, InspectLet, SurveyMonkey, and Qualitative. We're trying to gather as much feedback as possible, and we do that through tools like SurveyMonkey. Here, I'll tell you how to create a survey, get the best insight from it, and then have ideas to actually start split testing. So the secrets to higher conversions live in your customer's mind. You want to try to get 100 responses in your SurveyMonkey feedback forms and try to really understand what's going on in the mind of the customer. Through this, you will start to understand patterns of language that people have to help them make their lives better. You want to use the information that people are telling you and then use that back in your marketing material. These patterns of insight are excellent for your unique value proposition and your copywriting tests. You can see here people were talking about the ingredients or the best protein powder on the market. So all we used was that information back to create our unique value proposition. But you can automate this process to collect surveys. You want to add a survey to your thank you page, add a survey to your email footers. Every time an email goes out, you're asking for survey feedback, promote your survey on Facebook, incentivize your email list to fill out a survey and maybe give them a coupon. You also want to use things like Qualitative, where as people move their mouse to the back button on like your checkout or cart page, you pop open a survey and ask them why they're not checking out. Or on the thank you page, you ask them what made them purchase from today or why not. We also use tools like usertesting.com to watch people go through your site, competitor sites, and different Google search queries. This will help you understand the real experience of your site from watching people in their own shoes. We also want to watch the right type of testers. The trick to using user testing is to bring in your ideal customers. You do that using screeners. This will help you avoid getting pro testers that could be biased. Here's a cheat sheet that I created for you. You can screenshot it or you can download it at the link below. But this is a cheat sheet that I ask all of my e-commerce experiences questions on how to get the best out of user testing. I ask them their first impressions. I asked them to go through the actual checkout process and ask them if they would purchase or why not. And then I have them go to Google and have them find a competitor to figure out which site they prefer and why. I also want to know all of the questions that the visitor has to eventually buy the product from us. For example, people want to know about the returns. They want to know the privacy, the trust. How can I get a refund? And the last question we ask is, if you had a magic wand, how would you actually improve this experience? These open-ended questions will help you understand your site a lot better than you ever thought in the past. So now we know where people are going using something like Google Analytics. We find out what they're doing on that page using heat maps like InspectLet. And now we know why. We watch people go through the site using user testing. We now have enough qualitative and quantitative data to start creating our hypothesis, creating tests for our copy on our unique value propositions or the user experience to scale and grow our bottom line. That's what it's all about in the end. So we move now into the hypothesis phase to create a specific educated guess to validate each of our observations to improve that problem, to have a solution to each understanding. But we need to understand the user a lot more. We need to gather all that intelligence and put it together actually into our hypothesis. So we want to understand the voice of the customer, the actual demographics, and why they actually want to purchase the product in the long run. In the end, they want to get healthier and they want to live longer, and they're willing to pay for these products to do it along the way. So in our hypothesis, we're able to gather all of the insight, and if this is the right information for them, we knew that the value proposition needed to be simpler. We knew that the text needed to be easier to understand. People also wanted to learn more about the guarantee, have a risk reversal. They also wanted to know about the reviews and the credibility symbols, make people feel a lot more comfortable through iconology and easy to understand designs. Now we're able to actually create our hypothesis. You can actually download the cheat sheet to create that hypothesis that I've created from previous efforts from like Brian Eisenberg. But you want to use a hypothesis framework to understand the problem that people have, create a solution for that observation, and ensure that you're able to track the success for track the success for each experiment, each of the goals. In our hypothesis phase, we're also able to prioritize all the different tests that we're going to run. You don't want to just shoot in the dark and just try to test anything. You want to have a specific strategy for all of your split testing efforts. You can see here that 5 out of the 6 tests are all related around the whey protein powder page, our biggest revenue generating opportunity page. Only the second test, the shopping cart test, is essential to reducing the cart and checkout abandonment rates. From that, we're eventually going to reach a local maximum where we can't optimize our site any further. So that is an indicator where we actually start doing the redesign. In summary of the hypothesis, for the whey protein powder page, essentially, we're just trying to not make people think. We're trying to have a clear headline, a clear tagline, and the overall goal is to increase the conversion and increase the average order value. In the cart and checkout tests, we're trying to increase trust, add more security, improve the user experience, and reduce cart abandonment rate. So now we have enough information through our research and our hypothesis to begin executing and creating our tests. We're going to create wireframes, designs, and split testing to actually run and validate our tests. The process is pretty simple. To set up an A/B split test, you start with your control, the original whey protein powder page that you see here. Yes, it was busy, had a lot going on, and we used data to validate that. From that, we're able to create a new variation, taking the exact same information from one page and then slimming it down and making it easier to understand in a nice layout with the credibility skills, better unique value proposition, and the risk reversal. This test resulted in a 65% increase in conversion. just by taking the exact same information from one layout and applying it to another one in an easier to understand way. But conversion rate optimization never stops. We always want to take our baseline, make it the new control, and then start trying to improve it even further. And we learned that this page was still very busy. It was missing some of the elements from our first initial rounds of tests. So we knew that we can make the design a lot better. So we created a completely new design. We knew that people didn't necessarily want to buy the jars of protein. They actually wanted to have the shake. So we changed the image. We changed the language to make it a little bit easier to read. We changed the value proposition. We also changed the reviews, and we also were confused that maybe people didn't understand how to use the radio buttons appropriately, so we separated out the products separately. Then we were able to move the ingredients above the fold, but unfortunately, this test lost. Even though it was a new design and it was based on our hypothesis, we knew that this failed experiment we can learn a lot from. We knew that this was not the right approach for this particular variation. So we went back to the drawing board. We went back to our new control. That was our new baseline winner. And we asked people in user testing through feedback, and people were still confused. They said it was too salesy. It didn't directly speak to me. And all we really found out is that people wanted a more cutting edge design, something simpler, easier to understand, and it addressed all the questions that people had along the way. This resulted in a 56% improvement in conversion rate. Taking one test, trying to improve it as much as you can, having some losers, but eventually accomplishing your goal by having an overall winner. But just because a test wins doesn't mean you make more revenue. So you want to ensure that you're reviewing all of your tests using a statistician or an analytics person to ensure that this is the right result for your production environment. So breaking down why this particular test won, we can look that it had a very clear, unique value proposition. It had social proof above the fold with clear call to actions. It had great customer reviews above the fold. And then it had visual cues at the fold line to tell people that they can actually scroll down and see more information. Now we'll start to look at the data, not only from the user experience, but how does the data really reflect to the test that we just ran? In summary, we're able to have 150 more sales per month, 3 times the leads per day, with a 50% decrease in CPA. So we're increasing the return on investment by lowering our ad spend, and a 5% decrease in bounce rate. This resulted in doubling our sales and tripling our leads in 5 months. So this is the average way that we walk through the process of doing the discovery, hypothesis, execution, review, and scaling process. But we're not done, because we need to take what has won and be able to really scale and grow our bottom line. Just because you have winning tests doesn't mean you'll actually grow your bottom line. Doesn't mean you'll actually have an overall gross conversion rate. In order to do that, you have to take one winning element and then apply that across your site. Create additional landing pages with your best performing results. Apply that to your mobile and iPad strategy, or your paid advertising, like your Facebook marketing, your Google AdWords, or your affiliate marketing sales. And I'll show you exactly how to take one winning landing page and scale it to all of your other products. So now we have our winning control. It won by 56%. We're able to clone that page for our other top traffic landing pages. You probably remember going back to that Google Analytics report, but the green superfood page was a top traffic page as well. So we literally just cloned it with the exact same elements, new copy, easy to understand, credibility above the fold, and that had an increase of 10% conversion improvement for this particular project. Then we were able to do it again by cloning the pre-workout energy drink page, another landing page for their inventory. That had a result of 16% increase in this conversion improvement for this product. We did the exact same thing for the omega products, fish oil, omega mix, and that had an increase of 12% improvement. Now we have worked all the way through our funnel and our landing pages for our top selling products. We can then apply what we've learned to the homepage, taking the existing homepage, which it's decently designed, but we knew that we can make it a lot better by adding this new cutting edge flat design to help it improve as well. Now the homepage is tested a little bit differently, and we tested it mostly focused on reducing bounce rate. This had 7% more clicks, reducing the bounce rate by 7%. In summary, we're able to actually go through the site, create a discovery, hypothesis, execution, review, and scaling process to understand who our customers really are, what pains, problems, and desires they have, create a hypothesis, execute tests, review, and scale and grow your bottom line. But in between all that, there's a lot of steps. You really need to understand your customer mindset. What's that voice of the customer? Be able to gather intelligence and then use qualitative and quantitative data to run successful split tests during the execution and creation process to review and scale and grow your bottom line. In the end, the strategy for you to triple your e-commerce sales, especially if you have an unoptimized site, if you've never done this before, I would tell you today to stop buying additional traffic. For the next few months, only focus on converting your existing traffic. It doesn't matter how much traffic that you're driving to your website if you can't convert that traffic actually into sales. The next few months only focus on your highest value revenue potential tests. Those 5 landing pages which have the most opportunity, try to optimize those as much as you possibly can. Initially, you may have some losses, but how can you leverage those losses to make actually more money? Once you have a proven strategy that's working for you, you can lower your CPA, remove your bad traffic, make all of those words negative keywords, so you're actually increasing your return on investment by spending more money on quality traffic. Then scale your wins to lead generation, social media, and different email marketing channels. Now you want to focus on increasing your sales, increasing your budget, and doing affiliate marketing. The first 6 months of your optimization strategy should all be focused on quick wins. You should know more about your user experience than your actual customers do. That completes the initial round of the triple your e-commerce sales and leads in the next 6 months. If you do have questions about this, simply reach out to me by sending me an email, alex@alexdesigns.com. Also, if you want to get the new book that I have coming out in May, all you have to do is visit this URL, and I'd love to send you the book. I'm really excited about it. It has a lot of the same information, but broken down into a more easy to understand fashion.